All right, time to piss everybody off. So I have I don't want to say I've avoided this topic, but every time I get into this topic, I get people upset. So I really wanted to wait until I was ready to join this conversation. And it keeps coming up, and it's a very highly debated topic on the internets, and it is girl bossing. Now, for those of you who don't know, I am 39 years old. I'm a millennial. I absolutely grew up in the girl boss era. I did the unpaid internships. I worked multiple jobs. I am of the grind till you die era. All right. Like that is how I came up. And there are certain aspects of girl bossing and that life that I do think are incredibly useful. There are aspects of it that I think are ridiculous and inaccurate and can open you up to be exploited. And it does not leave a lot of nuance, but neither does the conversation. I feel like now we are at a place where it's split because it's reached the internet, and the internet is here or there. There's no nuance. These clips do not allow for the elaborate discussion around a particular topic. These screenshots don't put the entire thing in context. And yeah, some very powerful, successful women have had this conversation lately. Emma was pretty much dragged for her opinion about on I believe it was Keke Palmer's podcast about girl bossing and working from home. Bose talked about it recently. Michelle Obama. And my overall opinion about girl bossing is just not limited to one line. But if I had to take all the nuance out of it and say what I think about girl bossing or, being in the workplace or being a woman with a career, the simplest way that I can put it, having been in the workplace for over 20 years, you cannot have it all at the same time. That is not revolutionary to me. I learned that at a very young age. And the principle of it is you're going to fail at something pretty much every day. And you have to forgive yourself for failing at that thing, whatever day it is. One day, maybe you didn't make it to the gym. One day, maybe you skipped out on your diet. One day, maybe you weren't able to call your friend back who was dealing with something. One day, maybe you missed your kid's 15th ballet practice. One day, maybe your partner needed more attention from you than you had the capacity to give. One day, maybe you forgot one of your niece or nephew's birthdays. You forgot to call them. One day, maybe you missed an assignment at work. You're not going to check every single box every single day. And I think the girl boss mentality preached that you have to be excellent across the board. You have to be a perfect mom. You have to be a perfect employee or a perfect boss. You have to be a perfect partner. You have to be in perfect shape. You have to look like you have everything together and have everything together. And that's impossible. And that is, I think, what triggered the initial pushback against girl bossing, which is that this is exhausting. I'm missing everything. I'm trying to hold everything up. I'm trying to hold everything together. And then because of that, I'm failing at everything at the same time. I recently watched Bad Moms on a plane ride the other day because I needed, something to just put on that I've seen a few times. And I love when she snaps and just basically is like, I give up. I'm not doing anything. And obviously, there's a message there, and then she course corrects, and everyone realizes that it's not actually her job to be perfect and hold everything together and be on time for everything. And then everyone admits that their lives are falling apart as well, and that they're not perfect. And then all the moms come together and they're nicer to each other. That is what I feel like needs to be the next step of this girl boss conversation. But what I said in my one-liner is what I really think is missing. If you want to take a step back from the workplace, that's your right. You shouldn't be ridiculed for it. It makes perfect sense. If you want to work from home because you're tired of the workplace drama, that's your right. And you should do what is a priority for you. If your goal is to be the CEO of the biggest company in the world, you should aim for that. If you want to stay at home and be a mom and a homemaker and not be in the workplace at all, you should do that. The judgment of all of these choices is what we need to remove. And I bang this drum constantly because feminism, like many terms, has been co-opted and morphed and perverted into this idea that women who leave the workforce and are at home with their children now have lost their ambition. And you have to work if you want to be respected as a woman. Or if you work, then you hate being a mom and you hate everything that is feminine. Like everything is not in this particular box. There's gray areas across the board for everyone. And choice is the purpose. And the reason I feel so strongly about this, one is because I don't believe in hustling backwards. Like, why would I give up my rights and freedoms for a particular idea because it offends traditional sensibilities? Traditional sensibilities is what led to abuse and oppression. It wasn't that long ago that women had absolutely no financial freedom whatsoever. You could not get a credit card. You could not get a loan. You could not start a business. You want to know why your grandparents stayed together for as long as they did? Because your grandmother was a prisoner. She had no choice. Almost all situations that involve domestic violence also involve financial abuse. They do not have access to money. If you have no funds, you can't run. And abusers know that. So that is one very large part of this entire pushback on women having options. There's so much to this conversation. Oh, I love seeing these memes. I can't believe women fought for the right to work. Baby, women didn't fight for the right to work. They fought for the right to get paid for the work they were doing. To get paid for the work they were doing. You can go out and get a job because women who came before you marched and fought and were beaten and abused and killed and raped and all types of other things for the right to get paid for the labor they were already doing. If you want to stay at home and be a kept woman, focus your energy on finding a man to do that for you. But the entire trad wife pushback is bringing everyone back to this place where women should only have one option. And when women had only one option, they fought to have more options because women are not naturally submissive. We've been over all these things.